My name is Violet, and when I was a child, my brother Jeremiah was a real little devil. He was driving our governesses crazy, and many resigned because of him. He would come home from school around 2 in the afternoon, and my mother would come home around 4. For 2 hours, my brother was up to as much no good as he could. Once, he chewed one of the flowers planted in the garden and had pimples on his lips. He had to be taken to the emergency room, and my mother gave the order to uproot the plant. Another time, to avoid going to school one morning, he locked himself in the shower, and when my mother managed to break down the door, he made her think he had fainted. He had already tried to shear our cat, and he had scratched him. One day, he was playing hide and seek with our cousin, and he hid in the water tank in the garden. And when he came out, his fingertips were all crumpled and his eyes red. He once ate dishwashing soap to see if he was going to burp bubbles. I remember the day he pretended he had already eaten, so he wouldn't eat the vegetables the governess had prepared. And when my mother asked him what he had eaten, he said, "A piece of gum." I laughed so much I almost choked on my broccoli. One night, he went downstairs to make popcorn in the microwave and tried to go to the bathroom before the popcorn was ready. He was running so fast that he hit the hallway door. He had a bump that lasted a week. One day, he tried to cut his hair with scissors. The result was appalling. It was horrible. To try to make up for this, my mother had to shave his head. He was very funny, and with him, I was never bored. He was always thinking about something new. And when I thought he had reached the top, he had more tricks up his sleeve. My mother punished him so much that she rarely had the opportunity to see him when she came home at night. The biggest mistake of all the nonsense he did was on Christmas Eve. With our cousin, he had bet that he could swallow the whole jar of the hot sauce. By the time my mother realized what was happening, he was already halfway through the pot. He had tears in his eyes, his cheeks were red, snot was running from his nose, and he had peed himself. My mother was on edge. She promised my brother that she would enroll him in military school, and that's what calmed him down. Today, he is a big boy, and he volunteered to babysit my son, Miel, for the first time. The memory of what he was before prevents me from taking him seriously, no matter what he does. We don't see each other often, but every time he comes to our house and I tell my husband what Jeremy was doing, he doesn't believe me. He finds it hard to believe that the serious young man who helps my eldest daughter do her homework every time he's there is the same as the little boy I'm talking about. I look forward to seeing what his children will look like. I hope that at least one of them will have the same temperament as him, so that he understands what Mom had experienced. Don't forget to like and share this video with your friends, and subscribe to enlarge the community by activating the notification bell.